everyone. We welcome you all to the Product Summit 2020. I'm Shantanu, Product Manager at Inc42, and with me I have Suhas Motwani, who runs a volunteer-driven organization of super energetic product enthusiasts.
Thanks so much, Shantanu, and a very good morning to everyone present here. Super excited and delighted to host this with you, Shantanu. Folks, welcome to India's largest virtual product conference, the Product Summit 2020, where we bring to you 30 plus of India's top leaders from the product world. So stay tuned for an exciting keynote session, followed by some exciting panels and workshops. Before we jump in, just wanted to mention a huge thank you for signing up and for all the support that you guys have given us over the last few weeks. I can promise you this weekend's going to be a banger. A quick agenda for the next 15 minutes. We'll share a little bit about the community, the product folks, as well as Inc42 Media. Uh, we'll also share some interesting insights about the next 48 hours and our personal favorites. We'll share some quick tips on how you can make the best experience for yourself over the next couple of hours, as well as tomorrow. Then we'll jump right into the session that you guys have been waiting for. So first up, for those who haven't heard about the product folks earlier, here's a super short intro. Um, the Product Folks is a volunteer-driven community of product managers, marketers, analysts, developers, and product enthusiasts. We started just over a year ago with one small offline event in Bangalore, but since then we've hosted 120 plus events across 7 cities in India, 2 outside, and lately we've been doing a bunch of these virtual events. Last month we hosted Marty Kagan, who is the author of Inspired, a book that most of us have read. We hosted the founder of Superhuman, the founder of Coda. We've hosted PM leads from Stripe, Airbnb, and a host of other Indian startups. So do check out the YouTube channel for some of these recordings. Do join us for our masterclasses. Apart from events, I think we've slowly been building a bunch of resources for the community in the product space. First up, we have Insurjo.club, which is an early stage APM program for folks looking to break in. Next, we have a curated set of resources called LearnPM.with.me for folks looking to grow in their careers. This is evolving, so feel free to share your feedback with us. And lastly, we launched GrabChai.online, which is our version of a curated one-to-one networking platform. So do check this out, and any feedback that you have, with just a DM away. However, back to the summit, I think none of this would have been possible without our friends at Inc42 Media. So Shantanu, if you could share a little about all that you guys have been contributing towards the community, would love to hear that.
Thanks, Suhas. It has been an amazing experience collaborating with TPF to host our first ever virtual conference. I think today technology is rapidly disrupting and almost each and every business, and as well as the very foundation of the work and jobs in India. We started over 5 years ago at Inc42, and our mission has always been to enable tomorrow's business leaders and makers by helping them with insights, analysis, and skills on India's tech economy. Over the years, Inc42 has become the voice for tech and startups in India. And now we have over 2 million readers which are coming in monthly, and we reach over 20 million people monthly. As early as 2015, we pioneered our famous networking events and tech parties. And a lot of you might have been to them, like Pulse 42, VC dinners, and Founders Meetup. And so far, we have conducted over 50 plus such events and 2 flagship conferences. The junction and the ecosystem itself has brought together more than thousands of founders and makers over the years. Historically, all our events have been kind of private-only events, and TPS is one of our first open conferences, not to mention our first virtual conference. And the response has been phenomenal, and it's all thanks to the people who are attending it. And finally, in March this year, we launched our flagship membership product, Inc42 Plus. With Inc42 Plus, we want to give our most dedicated readers a deep dive into India's tech and startup economy, using our in-depth research reports, exclusive stories, analysis and newsletters, actionable playbooks, and guides. And over 200K plus worth of deals on startup tools and more. We have already onboarded thousands of members and are adding nearly 500 plus members every month. We look forward to serving India's tech community and building it into the world's #1 tech and startup hub. Suhas, I think now it's time we don't make our audiences wait any further, and tell them why we did the product summit in the first place. What do you think?
Absolutely, absolutely. And thanks for sharing all that information. I think you guys have been doing a phenomenal job as well. Um, on the question of why we are doing the product summit, I think this is something that we've been receiving a lot over the last couple of weeks. So definitely would like to share some thoughts on this. Um, Shantanu, I still remember the day I think we were sitting, the first call that we have where we wanted to partner on this, and what evolved. I think that time we planned it to be a half day, really exciting. It was a different concept, but I think what it has evolved into is this, 2 day
True.
summit where we have the top leaders joining us. So I'm super
Yeah.
excited for this. Yeah, but jumping right into your question, I think over the last couple of years, India's ecosystem has evolved leaps and bounds. Since I moved here, one thing I noticed is these stories really need to come out. We have built products from India for India. We built products from India for the world. But the only way I think we can grow from here is we stick together as one community and we support each other. So with the product summit, I think we'd love to bring out these nitty gritty product building experiences that folks have had, the stories of hyper growth. And the best part is we get to hear them directly from the guys who made this impact. So that is something that I'm really excited about. Over time, we see this platform to grow into one where people really come together, give back to the ecosystem, and eventually this weekend becomes one of celebrating India's fastest growing product ecosystem. So that is the idea, but I'm sure
Yeah.
you'd like to add something in.
Sure, Swaz. I think that the world is going through a digital transformation, and the government is urging startups and companies to help in holding that fort up. And I think as a media company, it was time for us to break ground and bring together the top minds who are driving the product wave in India to share their wisdom and experiences with the product community. Uh, this event wouldn't have been possible without our grateful sponsors. So, as a presenting sponsor, we have Amplitude, who are supporting us all throughout. As associate sponsor, we have AWS, Dell, and DigitalOcean. I would really like to thank all of them to supporting us to make this event possible. Suhas, why don't we show them what we have in store for our audiences?
Absolutely waiting for it. Take it away. I love that, Shantanu, and thanks for sharing that. I know it was awesome. So shout out to the guy who made it. Do give him my regards, please.
Sure, man. I hope you all like the event video. Uh, for the product summit, we all have been working pretty hard since the past 2 months to ensure that we give a fantabulous experience to our audiences, which is never seen before. Before we jump in, I would really like to thank all the team members who played such a big role in making this happen, spending nights and days to ensure that all you folks have a wonderful 2 day experience. And for the folks who are excited, as we are, we would love if you all can show some love on the chat. Just drop a hi, say that you guys are awesome, and I'm sure our team would be happy to see that.
Absolutely, Shantanu. I think I had reserved this for the closing section, but I'm so glad you brought it up. Um, One thing that has been the highlight for me is the amount of effort these guys have put in over the last couple of weeks. The team that at Product Folks, at Inc42 Media. So thanks so much for bringing this up, and guys, do show them your love. I think this is the only thing that they take away. So thanks so much, Shantanu, for bringing this up. But yeah, with that, Shantanu, I think one interesting question that I'd like to ask you is,
Sure.
while we were having our dry runs, Some of the sessions I think really caught your eye, and I heard some interesting feedback for you. So for everyone
Yeah.
who's joined us right now for this intro session, is there one or two that you can recommend, really recommend from your side? Any personal favorites?
I think that would be too tough, but something that really caught my eye and it interests me personally is how to build a growth model, which is taken by Anirban. And I think the kind of the things that he's trying to deliver in that session are pretty amazing. I don't want to spoil the surprise. I want to keep it as a surprise, and I want every folk that is attending the summit to attend that particular session. And looking forward to that one. To add another one, I think we are having a session at almost the end of the day, which is like building for the next billion user. And we have a great panel lineup for that. And I think that particular session, because India is considered as the biggest segment, which is contributing to the whole NBUs and how the next generation is coming in, what are their, kind of spending options that way they are going to come in. A lot of startups and corporates are going to have a lot of opportunities, acquiring all those kind of customers. And I think the panel will discuss, some deep dive insights on how to decode those strategies. I'm personally looking very forward to these two sessions, though it's pretty tough. But yes, if you have to name it, these are the two.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I think I completely agree with you on that growth model workshop. I think that is going to be pretty deep, pretty insightful for a lot of folks on this call. If I could add
Yeah.
one, I think definitely one around product market fit. I think this is one thing that's been discussed way too much, but with Rahul from Zomato, Harsha from LSVP, and Tejas from Big Basket, I think this one is definitely going to be very interesting given their anecdotes, given their experience. So I think that is one. Another one is around. I think the one that we have around engineering high growth product teams. I think
Yeah.
got a lot of questions around uh, how do I hire a product manager? How do I build these product teams? Because as the startup ecosystem evolves, for building these products, you need this talent. So while we have Kaushik from FP, Killan from Razorpay, and Snehal from BrowserStack joining us. I think
Yeah.
they've done this. So hearing directly from them, I think that should be really exciting. So I think these are two that I'd like to give a recommendation to. Definitely do check it out, guys. And without further ado, um, you guys know all about the keynotes that we have. You've inquired about the panels and workshops, but if I could just add one more thing, is we also have this opportunity on this platform to network. So we've tried to recreate the offline experience that you guys have. Two ways you could do it. One is you could send one-to-one meeting requests to profiles that you find interesting, and this is double opt-in, so you can set up conversations but at both will. Another one is you can simply go into the networking lounges. So our networking lounges will have some themes. The one that you were interested in, jump in. Yep, this was one tip to make your experience the best. Shantanu, anything that you'd like to share with them? So,
Sure. I think one of the major features that excites me personally is the event feed. I think already a lot of activities happening on it, and a lot of people are collaborating, discussing things, sharing their opinions. I think that is an event of its own, and it has a life of its own. So I think event feed is one particular thing I'm looking forward to in terms of getting new insights from there. And second of all, I would like everybody to take a note, and a request to everyone is that, any session that you like, I would like you guys to go to the session tabs, add that session to your session calendar, so that, in case that session is going live, there is no chance that you guys miss it. So that's a suggestion from my end. So these are the two things that I'm looking forward to the most, Suhas.
absolutely. I think I saw the buzz on the event feed, but haven't got the time to
Yeah.
check it out. So right after, I'll also check that out. But thanks for sharing that. Um, Lastly, before handing it over, sorry guys, just keeping you a little longer. But Shantanu, just before I share it back to you to kick the session off, um, last point that I'd like to mention is all your interactions on the platform can send you right to the top of the leaderboard. And for the top three guys on the leaderboard, we have some exciting giveaways, some exciting prizes for you guys that will really make it sweet. So we're making the entire deal a lot more sweeter for you guys. Also, in case you guys are taking any notes, in case you're sharing anything on social media, feel free to use the hashtag the product summit 2020 and tag the product folks on all social media, as well as Inc42 at Inc42 Media. So with that, Shantanu, handing it back to you to kick the session off, and hope you guys have a very, very awesome day. I'll see you guys very soon.
Thanks, Suhas. To open our day, we have Nitin Kamath, founder and CEO of Zerodha. who will be moderated by Vaibhav Vardhan, founder and CEO of Inc42. Zerodha is India's largest brokerage firm with over 3 million traders. In this session, Nitin will talk about what it takes to engineer hypergrowth in fast-moving and diverse markets like India. The first barrier to engineering hypergrowth is a growth mindset. And typical being busy building attitude doesn't work always. So we learn about how to build a culture of experimentation, fast iterations, and growth, and how to apply the right mental models to grow 10x. I would now like to welcome Vaibhav to take the session forward. Over to you, Vaibhav.
Thanks, Shantanu. Thanks for the amazing intro. Good morning, everyone. It's so overwhelming to have more than 4,000 product enthusiasts logged in for the very first virtual summit at Inc42 and psyched to have all the awesome builders and leaders together. On behalf of the product folks and Inc42, I would like to welcome you all once again. So for our opening keynote session, we are talking about the growth mindset. And there's no one better than I can think of than Nitin Kamath, founder and CEO of Zerodha. Can we introduce Nitin? Hi, Nitin.
Hey, hi, Vaibhav. Thanks for having me on this.
So just to set the context, Zerodha is the largest brokerage firm in India with over 3 million traders and over 5 to 6 million trades done on its platform every single day, and is one of the only two bootstrapped Indian unicorns as well. The company, which has crossed the top line of INR 900 crores, is also one of the rare startups in India which has provided liquidity to all its team members through an ESOP buyback, and that too amidst a crisis. In my view, Zerodha is a journey of numerous product strategies and growth mantras that have led to the bootstrap startup becoming a unicorn in a decade. So welcome, Nitin. Welcome once again. Welcome to TPS.
Thanks.
So starting on a lighter note, you mentioned a couple of months back that the double quotes, they said work hard, make money, grow old, and live happily ever after. Damn, they were so wrong. So I just want to understand the emotion and feeling behind this, almost very, very poetic. So yeah, like, why do you say this?
No, see, the thing is, I have a lot of so when I started the career back in 2000, 2001, I had a rupee goal in my mind. I thought, when I hit my rupee goal, I will take it easy, and I love my music, I love my sports, I love my even my alcohols. So I thought, I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna be by the beach, have a shack where there's gonna be a band play every night, and host good people, and that's how I envisioned if I hit my rupee number. I hit my rupee number a long time ago, and yeah, I don't know. Now I don't know what it is that that makes me get up and keep working all the time. But it's almost become like an addiction. So while I can do it, I can take off today and go do whatever I want to do in life that I've always wanted to do, but I can't do it. So it's a really tough place to be. So and
no, exactly right. So I remember I was talking to Pallav like a couple of years back, and Pallav is moderating a session, and he's moderating Mr. Wembo also in the evening, and we were having the same conversation, and bunch of entrepreneurs who have made their first 10 million, $100 million. What next when you wake up the next morning? And the answer was nothing changes. So I totally get what you're trying to say. And adding to it quickly before we get into heavy questions, you also turned 30, and you mentioned that life is more like snakes and ladders rather than roller coasters. So a lot of ups and downs in the journey.
Yeah, sorry, I'm 40. I wish I was 30.
My bad. I was just trying to make you look young.
My 30s have all gone to the business. I can't remember. I can remember what happened between my 20 to 30, but 30 to 40, I can't remember anything other than business. Yeah. No. The thing is, the day I wrote it, right? I shared the tweet. We had a small little technical issue, and we were trending on Twitter, and I was getting bombarded with client emails. Every time that happens, right, you feel like jumping off a building. So it's while a lot of people just see the positive side of it, there are a lot of snakes in this, and usually, as founders, I think we have to hide all the snakes that has bitten us, right? We can't really be out there talking about that. But generally, yeah, I used to think, when I started my career, so I blew up my trading account. I worked in a call center for a few years, etc. So I always thought life is a roller coaster, which is, you see ups and downs. But the thing about a roller coaster is you know when a down is coming, right? As in you can kind of predict it. But what I've realized with experience is that you can't really ever predict these ups and downs. I mean, there have been so many tipping points in our journey, which has just been right place, right time. There's ladders which just suddenly help you, scale up. Like, for example, this year with COVID, I mean, no way in hell I would have thought in a year like this when stock markets should ideally have melted, we've grown as much as we've grown. So that was a ladder, but, so it's a
lot of snakes.
A lot of snakes as well. The only thing is, when snakes bite you, you have to do a good job of hiding it. So that's about it.
Yeah, hiding it or go to a dog. Like usually guys go to a dog, don't just hide it. So yeah. So and quickly, who are your role models and why? And because I always want to ask this question to a lot of entrepreneurs who have made it, because to everyone it's different, right? So for a lot of people I know, they don't have a role model, and maybe they have a tech figure in their mind. Some people really are fond of celebrities, and they all have their own reasons. So it will be very interesting to know, do you have role models and why?
No, I mean, see, the thing is, I've never really spent too much, and I'm probably one of those outliers. I haven't really spent too much time reading and things like that. I mean, all my reading has actually happened in the last 2-3 years of my life. Because the first 20 years of my career, I was generally, trying to hustle and put food on the table. So so my introduction to reading, etc., happened thanks to Audible over the last 3 years. And so there were never really role models during the journey. But I had seen, I was around Premji at a bunch of events. I was around Narayan Murthy. I mean, it was just quite fascinating to see how humble these guys were after doing whatever they've done in their lives. Right, as in, so that way they were role models, and I think over the last 1 year I've been following Sridhar Vembu, and he's just brilliant. I mean, I think he's just
amazing.
So I'm a proper fanboy of him. So so if today if you were to ask me, I think maybe he's a role model. I mean, I haven't really interacted with him yet, but just whatever he's sharing on social media, etc. I mean, I think it just hits right to your heart, So
sure. So one quick last question before we move on to heavy ones. Which is your favorite fintech startup product in India apart from the Zerodha universe? So yeah, you cannot count the small case and bunch of other products in that universe, but yeah.
I mean, it's funny, which I think personally, I haven't really used too many other fintech products, because like I said, the last 10 years have just gone away. I mean, I've used all our competitor products, but I think I don't know, UPI can be called a fintech startup, but if I could classify that under fintech.
In some media version we can, one of the articles will do that,
Yeah, so I think what they have done is just incredible. So I think DigiLocker, UPI, I think all government initiatives. I mean, these even for our journey, like something like a DigiLocker was like extremely key. So for the growth. So I'd say so these initiatives are probably I consider them as fintech startups.
Great. So now jumping in, and before I ask you questions, I would like to understand what Zerodha is in your words, in the most simplified terms. What Zerodha is, what are the key products, and how you look Zerodha as a philosophy, and then we'll go in deeper.
No. So the thing is, so I used to trade the markets for almost 13-14 years before Zerodha started. So when we started Zerodha, the idea was that if someone has an intent to buy or sell stocks, we want to be the best place in the country, right? As an intent means, that you want to buy, say, a Reliance or a TCS or whatever, and you want to come execute the trade. So we wanted to kind of, be low cost, offer great experience and all of that, So, and during the journey, we realized that people who have the intent to invest or trade are really small in this country. In the sense they're probably 70 to 80 lakh people who've been investing once a year actively in the markets. So then we said we had to kind of educate people, right? As in because the financial literacy in this country is so low. So we started this initiative called Varsity and all Trading Q&A and a bunch of others to kind of go share knowledge and get more people learn about financial markets. So then it became intent to execute plus intent to learn. So we wanted to kind of go and capture that audience. But then we realized that even that is not enough, right? Because people, in today's noisy world, even if people have an intent to learn, they don't really have the patience to kind of stick through like learning.
Yeah.
So there's so many distractions, right? So then we said maybe we need to now build products which can help people who want to invest but don't know how to invest, right? And that's where Rainmatter started, and that's where we partnered with all of these startups.
Yeah. And just to set the context, Zerodha launched in 2010 as a web trading platform, like you said, and charged a minimal fee on equity trades like other discount brokerages. But in December 2015, you guys did a product experiment which gave you a crazy scale, 30x jump, if I can say. So what was that experiment, and was it a hunch or a thought through decision? Did you know that this is going to happen, or just like you got lucky?
Right.
What happened in December 2015?
No, so the thing is, when we started business in 2010 in India, stockbrokers were charging a percentage brokerage fees, which means you buy stocks for 1 lakh rupees, say you pay 1%, so you pay 1,000 rupees as brokerage, right? You buy for 10 lakh rupees, you pay 1%, so you are now paying 10,000 rupees as brokerage.
Yeah.
Right. In an online world, the cost of executing a trade doesn't go up with the size of the trade. The cost of execution remains the same. So we said, if the cost of execution remains the same, why should the pricing be different? So can't it be a flat fee per trade? Right. So we started the business with a flat fee of 20 rupees per trade pricing model, and this was in 2000. We are still 20 rupees a trade, by the way. So in 2010. And was this a unique model? It wasn't. Discount brokers in the US, like E-Trade, Charles Schwab, etc., they started in the 1990s, and they were doing a flat fee per trade from back then, right? So, but then what happened with us as a business is, I used to trade very actively in the market, and when we started the business, the focus was to build a broking platform for very active day traders and futures and option traders like me or my brother or a bunch of others who used to work together back then, right? But as we grew the business, what happened was a lot of people started looking at Zerodha as, this is a broker for speculation. If you want to invest, go use ICICI, HDFC, etc. But if you want to trade actively, speculate, use Zerodha, right? And we wanted to kind of break that shackle, because that was restricting the kind of size that we could potentially grow to. So in 2015, coincidentally, we also launched a web trading app, in-house app, because until the first 5 years of the business was all built on top of vendor products. So 2015 is when we first had our first in-house product. So now we had a superior product experience, which was meant for, which was designed in such a way that it attracted first-time investors while also keeping in mind the very active traders. So we said, how do we now, break that, shackles of looked upon as only for active traders and also attract investing crowd? So it was 2015 December. Me, Kailash, who heads our tech, our PR guy. We were going to Cochin. Our flight got delayed. We were stuck in the airport, Bangalore airport, and then we were just having a conversation. We said, I said, dude, why don't we just go zero brokerage? We anyways don't make money out of this, this investing audience, because it was just contributing 2-3% of our revenue back then. So we said, let go of this 2-3%. Maybe this will change the image of the business. It was Friday evening, and Saturday morning we were zero brokerage, right? And so what it meant was, for equity investors, we were, we went from 20 rupees per trade to 0 rupees, as in completely free of cost. And the distance between 20, 20 and 0 isn't too much, but it just gave us a lot of virality for the first time.
But the distance it played for you was from 1 lakh traders to 3 million traders today in some way.
Absolutely. That was the first tipping point. And was this out of the 10 decisions we have taken at Zerodha, 9 have been on instinct. So they haven't really been thought through as much. There hasn't been some, the flexibility that you get by being bootstrapped and not having investors to go answer is that you can actually build a lot of stuff that you want based on your instincts. And what I've realized in my life is that at least in this area where you have core competency, like for example, stock market is the only thing that I understand in life. If you were to come and ask me, do a lending startup, for example, right? I wouldn't know, because there is no core competency on this, right? But around stock markets, around investing, trading, etc., I must have spent at least 20,000 hours, interacting with different, customers over the last 20-25 years. So there is some kind of core competency built. So, a lot of these instinctive decisions I've realized have actually worked much better than the ones that have been thought through, right?
So,
And
I have a very interesting question on that. And before I come to that, Vidhi has asked what were the pivot movements where Zerodha in early stages. Can you share the thought process on the same? So I think you have kind of answered that December 2015 product change was one of the main pivot movements for, again, I'm sure there are many, but this was one of them. And now coming to my earlier question, like you said, it was very instinctive and a lot of experience comes into play. So according to me, you have millions of traders and you have a lot of data points, device, city, what kind of trades, what kind of ticket size, what is the person's maybe background. So if I were you, and that is where I'm not you, because I would want to dig in data, right? And a lot of entrepreneurs today want to read in between the lines when there is nothing to read, or the product teams, or any kind of teams. So, but you said you guys do not rely on data much to get those insights because you maybe already know those insights and you want to keep customer. You don't want to hassle them and not make money on every aspect when we talked about it. So that will be very interesting to understand that analogy. And we'll come to Nudge after that and connect it to why you launched Nudge after that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, see, the thing is, right from day one of the business, the idea has been to build the best brokerage firm a trader investor can get in this country, right? And you'd be surprised to know that not a single person on our team has a revenue target. We probably are one of the only few financial services firms in this country who has a revenue target. Now, the issue with this digging into data and trying to build products, right, is that you're doing it more to generate revenue, right? And generally, in the business of finance, be it lending or be it investing, more investing or more lending isn't necessarily good for the customer, right? So in the sense, it's a tricky question, but say if a customer doesn't need money, do you want to really lend him the money? And it's a big.
No, I would want to lend money because I have to raise VC money also, right? You are bootstrapped.
Correct, right? Yeah. So we didn't have those constraints, right? So we have never chased revenue or growth as a business. We've always built the business saying, is this the right product for the customer? Is this the right thing for the customer to do? If it is, it's eventually good for the business, and that's how we build the business. So you would like, for example, the Varsity, our education initiative, is one of the largest in the world. Right? If you go to Varsity, we never ask you for your mobile number. You don't see any Zerodha ad, or we never send an email to people who have used Varsity saying open a Zerodha account. I mean, we never do stuff like that, because it just it kind of loses its soul. When you're doing so much, taking so much effort to kind of build all this content, and then you end up selling all these things, and customer on the other side thinks, what, he's doing all of this because he wants to, sell me something eventually, right? So we never sell. We have never done advertising or marketing as a business, right? Again, because we've said, we want to focus on building the product. If you do it, automatically the word of mouth will kick in and things like that, right? So, but then I think the reason we could stay like this was comes back to this, that the fact that we don't have investors to answer, or we don't have growth.
Sure.
So
I think so that company philosophy from the top flows down into the culture and the product teams and everyone, right? And I think it just changes the path of the whole company. So even Pragun has asked something on those lines, and we'll club it with the inception of Nudge. So what are the key factors that drive the roadmap of data team at Zerodha? Does the data team have its own mission, or does it follow a company strategy? I'm sure it's a very broad question, but if you want to quickly take a dig at that, and then we'll love to understand why you built Nudge between COVID, when you were getting double, triple the active trades on a daily basis, 7 million from 3 million. Why build Nudge to discourage people invest, right? And So first, what the data teams do in your company, and then the Nudge.
I mean, I might sound weird, but there isn't a data team at Zerodha, so there isn't a team which is sitting and looking at data. I mean, the only data that we look at is essentially when tickets come in, when support tickets and calls coming in, I mean, we are trying to figure where the issues are. I mean, that's about it. I mean, we are not looking at any customer trade data or anything like that. We are only little data that we are seeing is to figure if there are issues that are happening and if we can quickly resolve it, which is, you say the trading platform is having some issues, so we have all of these things built, which will just alert us saying, there is some issue with this, this bit of the business. So we can go and go after it. So yeah, so I mean, apart from that, we hardly ever look at it. I mean, there are times when someone from the press comes and says, "Can you tell us how many of your customers are between this age group?" That's when we go and we pull some of that data and share it. But what we've seen is incrementally that data doesn't really add too much intelligence, because I mean, I broadly know what's my age group. Like, does it really matter if it is around 30 or it is exact 35? As in it, a lot of people I've seen sweat a lot about just getting that exact numbers right. Like, just to give you an example, a lot of people talk about this tier 2, tier 3 city growth, and they associate address proofs given as as the location of the person. But if you see a lot of 20 to 30-year-olds, they finish their colleges, they have their Aadhaar cards made in hometowns, but they come to bigger cities. Right now, if you look at it by address proof, it's the wrong data. I mean, so that's one of the reasons I think a lot of these lending or savings or investing startups are claiming that there's a lot of business growing in tier 2, tier 3, but their address proof belongs to these cities. But if you actually look at by IP, you'd realize that they're actually sitting in the top 10, 20 cities in the country, right? And but the saying its growth is happening in tier 2, tier 3 is cooler because it probably attracts VCs even more. Right?
No, I think I'm totally fascinated when we spoke earlier, because everyone I talk to tell me 10 things they are looking at data, and I am not really data centric. I'm not really a techie, right? So I get so mesmerized and confused at the same time. So when you say it, you guys don't look at data. It's like the new coolest thing in 2020, that there's a startup which is a unicorn who does not read too much into the data, and hence I'm highlighting this particular point 2-3 times. But yeah, coming to Nudge now. So in COVID, what happened? You guys grew from 3.5 million active traders to 7 million traders a day. Why build Nudge as a product which is discouraging users to invest? Does trust, credibility plays a factor here, or what was the thought process?
Okay, so when this first lockdown happened in March, right? Suddenly there was this whole rush of first-time investors to the market, and what we realized was the behavior of this crowd was they started going and buying penny stocks, right? I mean, stocks which are valued between 5 to 10 rupees. A lot of people, I think, instinctively think, buying a stock at 5 rupees, waiting for it to go at 10 rupees and selling it, you can suddenly double your money really quickly. But
so they all wanted to be Wolf of the Wall Street kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
going on in India. So,
and then what was happening is that, I think what was also enabling all of this was a lot of social media chatter around the next penny stock that can potentially, make you money. See, the thing is, a good company, right, usually has volatility in prices. I mean, a Reliance can go from 1,000 rupees to 500 rupees, then go back to 1,200 rupees. But penny stocks, they never go back, in the sense, if a stock has gone from 1 rupee to 20 rupees, there will be a lot of this built up in social media saying this company is suddenly going to go to 100 rupees. And that's when operators are peddling those stocks to you, like what's happening, what you've seen in Wolf of Wall Street, right? And then innocent people get sucked into it, and then the stock never sees 20 rupees in its lifetime, right? As in, it'll come back to 1 rupees and hang around there, right? So we started seeing a lot of this, this behavior from from customers, and which is customers complaining to us saying, I bought the stock at 10 rupees, now it's at 2 rupees. What do I do, right? As a business, we have never advised customers. So we said, we don't want to be in this business of telling which stocks to buy or sell, because most people don't follow advice well. And in advice, it's a heads you win, tails I lose kind of a game. So if advice works, you don't get credit. If advice doesn't work, you get the blame. Right? So we said, we'll not do advisory, but then we realized that we have to do something about this problem, right? And so we had this idea running for a long time. We'd been working on it for a while, which is a platform called Nudge. So Nudge, essentially, see, the thing is, to be successful in investing and trading, there are 4 or 5 basic rules to follow. Actually, it's similar rules to do, if you're investing in startups, or if you're running a business as well, right? Which is, don't put all your eggs in one basket, don't go against the trend, don't diversify, and blah blah blah, right? As in, so we said, can we take all of these rules and put it on top of a platform? So if a customer is breaking a rule, we at least tell him that you're breaking this rule, right? So the first rule that we incorporated was this penny stock nudge, because what we realized is most people who bought penny stocks didn't even know what a penny stock is. I mean, they didn't realize that this company doesn't have a business. I mean, most penny stocks don't really have a business. I mean, these are essentially bankrupt companies. right? So on the platform, we started scaring the shit out of a customer, saying, you know what, if you buy this stock, you will lose all the money, right? So potentially letting go of revenue, because as soon as you ask a person not to buy or sell, you're losing revenue on your on the business side. But like I said, right, this business was never built on with revenue or growth in mind. Those have been incidental to whatever has happened to us. It's always been built saying what is the right thing for the customer to do. So we have built this penny stock nudge, and we're building a bunch of these other nudges, and each of this nudge that we're building, it potentially reduces the revenue for the business, right? As in, because every time a person is doing a wrong thing and you tell him that, boss, this is wrong, that means you're actually letting go of the business. It's almost like, say, if you're using credit card very frequently on a shopping website, and imagine a shopping website says, dude, your income is 50,000 rupees, you're 50,000 rupees buying this random unwanted stuff. Please do something else. It's almost like that. It's for us to be doing as a business. But I think that's how the brand for the business has been built, and that's the reason why I think people today like us, and we've been able to grow without having to spend any money on marketing or advertising.
And you have, again, on time and time again, you have mentioned, like the TAM, the market size is still very small, and it will take a lot of time to grow. And that is where you are putting in too much effort in making people aware. So would it be fair to say that Rainmatter, which is a fund, which is an incubation fund you guys have, is also a product diversification strategy at some level, where you say, hey, I'm bringing in these amazing companies, I'm enabling these entrepreneurs as well, and they are integrating with Zerodha, so I'm increasing my top funnel as well as I'm increasing my average revenue per user in the long run, and as well as diversifying into a separate product line, which I don't want to do because it's not my core. So would it be fair to say that Rainmatter somewhere is one of the product diversification strategy on a top level?
Absolutely. I mean, I think each of the startups from Rainmatter, essentially we could have built the same product in-house. I mean, there was no need to go after entrepreneurs and back them and give them access to whatever we did. But we knew that, if we start going after so many problems at the same time, we will be spreading ourselves thin in our core problem. Our core problem that we are trying to solve for is, solving for if someone has an intent to buy or sell, offering a great platform, or education, right? I mean, that's been the core problem that we've been going after. And these things, potentially could be distractions, right? As in, so one of the things I think I personally believe in is that, as a business is like playing a sport, and you need to do where your edge lies, right? I mean, you need to do if I'm big and tall, I probably should go play basketball. If I'm short and quick, maybe go soccer. If I'm big, tall, I can't really be being a midfielder in a football court, right? So you can't just do random things as a business, right? I mean, as a business, you need to do what is core competency to you. And so we've, over the 10 years, we've done nothing. I mean, we're just focused on that one problem that we're going after. Even though that today, a lot of people come to me and say, you should do insurance, you should do, I don't know, like 10 other things that we can potentially do, because we have this large pool of investors, and most of these guys are active, and these are the top 1-2% of the country. These people who typically invest in the markets are people with money, so they're the top 1-2%. So, but we've stick to our belief there, and we've said we're just going to do what is core competency. So Rainmatter, Rainmatter is one of the most exciting things I think we have done as a business, because we have enabled all of these startups, businesses to come build on top of us, and they're their own standalone businesses today, doing really, really well. And so one of those very satisfying things that I feel as someone who started Zerodha.
And we have a poll running on our feed, and the poll is, who wins the race, product generalist or specialist? What do you think? So product generalist or specialist? So that's a poll we are also running. But what's your view?
No, I think specialist.
Specialist.
See, as a like I said, right, I think you need to have core competency and one, right? I mean, it's good to be generalist, to just get a different perspective on life and on going after problems. But the actual problem that you're going after, you should be a specialist in it, I think, personally, because so like personally, like me, I've realized I've grown intellectually as and when I've learned different things in my life. I pick up a musical instrument. I know that I've intellectually grown a little, right? But so being generalist in that sense, kind of is really important. But but running a business, your core competency has to be in something, right? And I think, it just improves the edge. There are people who are generalists and who have done really well as well,
of course, there are exceptions always.
Yeah, but I think it just gives you an edge over others, and I think it also depends on how you're building a business. You can build business based on deep pockets. You can build business based on core competency and etc. Right? If you're building on deep pockets, then you probably need to be a generalist, so you can go after multiple problems at the same time, right? And if you're building without too much money, then you need to have an edge somewhere else, so which is maybe the core competency. And I don't know if that's the right way to say it.
Yeah. And quickly, just touching upon Zerodha as a financial product for India. So we talked about tier 2, tier 3, but what is your evaluation of tier 2 and tier 3 segments? Long way to go, or market is heating up? COVID unfortunately helped in some way bringing this awareness. So that's one. And second, similarly, what are your plans on US stocks and enabling international trade for Indian audience? And then I'll come to remittance as a problem, but that's a more follow-up.
See, the thing is, I think what we keep, a lot of us who live in cities, right, we forget that we are in this bubble, right, where, we see people like us and we assume the country is like this. At the end of the day, we are a really poor country, right? I was talking to a friend who said just 2 crore Indians have paid any kind of a tax last year, right? And I'm sure it'll be lesser, much lesser this year. Right now, to be able to save or invest, you need to have money with you. Right? You need to have some form of earning. If you don't have earning, you're not going to save or invest in the capital markets, right? So I think the big issue for the country is that, right? Is that we are a poor country, and we need to kind of if we are on our way to a 5 trillion whatever economy in 5 years, 10 years, whatever time, then all of these people like us, the opportunity for us grows up immensely. Right, but today I don't really agree. People, like I said earlier, right? This people looking at this growth from tier 2, tier 3, saying that we have unlimited growth in the cities, because the way looking at the data point itself is wrong. Because those tier 2, tier 3, cities, folks they are looking at right now are these 20 to 30-year-olds who just moved to cities and they haven't changed their address proofs. Right, so they're still using their old address proofs. So you're assuming that suddenly you can just grow these markets in all of these places. The thing is,
another 10 years.
I think so, and I know I can afford to be pessimistic about this because again I don't really have growth to chase. So, but I don't think the market is too big. I think at least see, the thing is, saving, investing, you're focusing on people who have the money, right? So, your audience today is maybe 2 crores, right? For lending startups, of course, people who don't have the money want money. So then your potential audience now suddenly becomes from 2 crores to 10 crores or 20 crores or whatever, right? So, but you really want to grow this country on back of, excessive lending? I don't even know, because then the country goes through these periods of systemic risk, So I think it's a tricky problem for the country.
Sure. And one more specific question, and then I'm rushing in between because I'm getting these notifications of time, and I want to cover a lot more. So one specific question on Zerodha, and then we'll go slightly broad. So you mentioned a couple of weeks back, the real problem to solve isn't really tech integration, but actually the very painful and expensive international fund transfer process. So is Zerodha looking at solving the remittance problem as a separate funnel too, or how are you looking at the whole remittance problem which India has as of now?
Yeah, I think it just became tougher from October 1st. I don't know if you know, there's a 5% tax collection on source if you send money more than $10,000. I think if there was a deterrent in terms of remittance being tougher, this 5% tax collection at source makes it even more tougher for people to remit money of the country. I don't think we are going to go solve the remittance problem. We've been talking to banks to solve it for us because it's again outside our core competency. But I think generally a country like ours will not like money to go out of the country, right? Because we are, like I said, now we already have, there's a deficit and the country can't afford too much money going out. I think if a lot of money starts going out, this whole 5% tax collection of source is actually brought in to reduce the outflow of money from this country, right? So I think in the longer run, while this is a great product to offer to Indians, I think I don't know if the government will just keep quiet if a lot of money starts going out, right? So I think one of the better ways to solve this, I've been talking to exchanges in India saying, maybe they should pick up the top 20, 30 stocks globally, because that's where all the interest is, and see if you can get them to list in Indian exchanges, like how Indian companies go and list as ADRs or GDRs outside this country. Can you get some of the larger companies to look at India as a potential market, just to list their stock here? So probably that's a better way to solve this problem in the longer run. But no, but we have on our list of things to. We are working on it, but it's still not a great solution, so we're taking it easy.
And if I can club it with what Sahaj has asked, what's the next big thing about Zerodha? And quickly you can also you can disclose what's the next you're building, so that will be good for all of us.
No, I mean, right now, like I said, right, as in we started with this whole idea of building the best platform for someone who has an intent to invest. Then we said we need to educate, but now we are saying we need to help, right? I mean, that's essentially the next big step, which is like what I just said about nudge. So we are saying that we need to help our customers avoid making mistakes, right? And because the issue in the markets is the behavior we have seen with most customers is that if they want to buy a kg of tomato, they'll go to the cheapest shop in town. But if they want to buy 1 lakh of stocks, they will just buy it on a whim. In the sense, a friend said buy this many shares of this stock, the person will go buy it, right? So which is like a weird behavior. And what we also in the stock markets, what happens is all these biases kind of interfere in your performance. For example, I think one of the biggest biases that everyone in the market get affected by is by the disposition bias, which is if you have a stock which is making money and a stock which is losing money, instinctively people like to sell what is making money and buy what is losing. And it's exactly the opposite kind of behavior required to make money in the market, which is you need to sell your losers and double down on your winners, right? And so we're trying to see if we can somehow educate people on all of this, and right? So that's the really next big exciting thing.
Next big exciting thing. And since we have a lot of product folks with us today here, and a lot of them want to know how the founder, and I know that the term unicorn is cliched in this context, but still for the sake of it, how the founder of a unicorn conceives, develops, and launches a product. So quick few questions. How do you zero in on what product to develop next? So like you said, it comes from the top level gut. Let's say you are saying educating people, or it's more like a literally a month-on-month roadmap on a larger level. So how do you zero in on what product to develop next?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like I said, right? There are broad directions. Like, first it was building a great execution platform. Right? Once we thought we have done most of the work required for that, we said we need to build education, right? So once, but then, each of those big ideas has a lot of small moving pieces.
Yeah.
Right. And so you put all of these saying, to be here, you need to do all of these small moving pieces, in the right place. Like one of the bigger issues that we have as a business today is offering good support, because I think I'm not really proud of the way we support our customers, because it takes time. I mean, we are decent, we're probably better than a competition, but it's not there. I mean, I don't get excited when I see, that's because we've just scaled up so much, and and it's almost impossible today to offer a phone support. Like, how do you offer phone support for like 2-3 million customers who are trading actively with you, right? It's almost impossible, right? And and a lot of, I think, online players have stopped offering phone support, right? And saying that you can never really solve that problem. But we have to, by regulation, required to offer phone support, right? So it's kind of a tricky kind of a problem.
But that's a very exciting problem if one can solve it.
Correct. Yeah.
I think this will not only help you, all the B2C companies can take this from your playbook and maybe apply, and life will be happier for a lot of Indians. But yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, but like I said, right, I think a lot of these product decisions comes from just, I spend like at least 2-3 hours every day interacting with our customers online. And, I have a close team of around 14-15 of us, which do this job, which is constantly keep interacting with people, keep looking at problems. And then we come up with these, like a broad idea saying, this is the next big thing that we need to do. Right. And then, and we are a really lean tech team. I mean, people will be surprised to know that we are just a 30-member tech team.
Including everyone, including the product managers, the tech, the engineering, everyone.
So there isn't really a product manager per se, So like I said, this team that that I have around me of 14, 15 people. We come up with these ideas, and I'll just give you an example. Coin, which is our direct mutual fund platform, is today probably the largest in terms of AUM in the country. It was built by 2 people, right? And but the thing is, what we have realized is that small teams are a lot more efficient. And I mean, we have done these experiments, and we have figured that smaller teams work better, especially in a business like ours, where the concepts are very complex to understand, right? I mean, this isn't like just because you need people who understand tech, who and also who can understand finance, right? And and you need these people to be with you forever, right? So one of the great things we have done as a business because of a small team is that we haven't lost a single person from the team yet. I mean, almost all people of the tech team who joined us are still with us till date. And
just a very layman stupid question for my clarity, so I can debate with my co-founder later. When you say 2 people have built the platform, it includes design, coding, front end, back end, everything, right? End-to-end delivery.
Absolutely,
yeah. So it's a point my team can note, and we can debate later. So yeah, good.
Yeah. So,
sorry to interrupt. Another one to add onto this, and you can continue in that. Can a financial product be sufficiently stress tested against negative market events? It's a very heavy question. I'm not sure who has asked it, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, so the thing is, one of the great things that have happened for the business is that we have this following of users who help us test out each and every product of ours. So we have a community where usually when we build something out, we put it out in the community and we ask people to give it a shot, because it's almost impossible to, see, the thing is, unlike other businesses, right? In our business, we have an underlying infra that we rely on, which is the exchange infra. That means when you place an order on our platform, the order has to go to our data center, from our data center to the exchange, and these have to go through these lease lines. From the data center to the exchange has to go through these lines, and then there are these lease line capacities and multiple things that can go wrong with the exchange data at the exchanges. So it's almost impossible to figure what change you make can really break your system, right? And it's a really tough problem, and I think one of the reasons why you haven't seen a lot of these old school brokers having up their game on in terms of the product is because every time you make any little change, you're taking a risk of being down, right? And that whole business continuity risk in this business potentially means the thing is, if you're down for 2 minutes, it's a potential profit and loss. I mean, profit, no one has a problem, but if there's a loss to someone, we get screwed, right? As in, and this inability to take risks with traditional brokers is what is, if you look at some of the old bank brokers, their platform looks exactly the same way as it looked at 5 years or 10 years back. The reason is because they can't take the kind of risk that we can take, when we are kind of developing and putting out our new products out there, right? And it's not possible to cover for all risks, but we do have this system where we open. We have to take that risk, because if you don't, someone else is going to disrupt us. So it's a problem.
It's a chicken and egg loop, but someone has to do it. So on a lighter note, a lot of founders have these rituals and superstitions, right, that they follow before a product launch. Do you do something like break the nariyal or like do a tika? I don't know.
No. I mean, no, I don't think any of us are religious, and things like that. So, none
like
of
open
that
a bottle of champagne. It can be anything. You love alcohol, anyways.
No, nothing superstitious. So, but no, but we celebrate. Every success. We need a reason to celebrate, but so it is usually post and not pre. So.
Fair enough. And I want to quickly touch upon team. You said 30 people, small team. How to build again, I will not use the word product team, I will use the word growth team. How to build these growth teams, because not everyone is on the same page as of the founder or as of the management in some cases. So people get to know what they're supposed to know in a lot of cases. So how do you keep these 30 people, 40 people together, especially in these COVID times? Motivation is low. people are very uncertain, and a lot of things are happening. Even in your universe, a lot of glitches are coming, and a lot of things are happening. So how do you keep this team together? How do you build these high growth teams? And if earlier example we can take where you brought in a couple of people. So what did you show them? Was it the vision? How was it?
No, I mean, see, the thing is, I think it's easier when the teams are smaller, in tough times, right? Because it's easier to communicate, etc. See, the thing is, while the tech team is a 30-member team, the rest of the operation support process, etc. We are a 1,100-member team, right? So there are two sides to it. There's a large support and operations team, and there is a really small tech team, right? And even in the large team, there is a core growth team of 40, 50 folks, so if, who've been with the business for the last 10 years of sorts, right? I think it's a really tough way to build it. I don't know if it's possible for everyone to build, because the way we build the team is, see, firstly, Kailash, who's was our CTO, he is a proper monster. I mean, I got probably the luckiest break of my life has been to find him. So he joined us in 2013. Around him is where we built the tech team. And when we both met, we spoke about Zerodha, etc. There was never, I mean, it was all people like the vision of saying this is what we're trying to build, right? And apart from him, he's got a really pedigree education background. He's done his PhD, etc. But apart from him, we've actually gone for people with the right attitude and no pedigree education. So there are no IITs. I have nothing against them, but these are all folks who have joined us, very from below average to average kind of schools, or no schools at all. And we are their first job, so they all joined us when they are 21, 22, and they've done the grunt work, which is they've sat through, taken calls, made sales calls. They've done that for a few years. They have shown, in the sense, they've risen up amongst the ranks. So and because they've seen the growth that they've seen, and intellectually, not just money wise, I don't think we were ever, I've never hired as anyone, a team offering anyone stock options and etc. Right? So this was essentially all like a post, because I always knew that if you attract someone just by offering stock options, etc., he's coming for the wrong reason, right? As in, he isn't really there for you because he likes the vision sort. So most people working with us today are working with us because I think they like the problem that we are solving, and that's one of the reasons I think it's easier to retain. And also not having this constant thing to chase, right? I mean, we're not chasing revenue and growth, right? I mean, we never speak about how many users we added or how much we want to add or how many page views or stuff like that, right? As in, because I think it just brings in amounts of pressure, because today, now that I've invested in a bunch of companies, I kind of know how other ways of building a business. It works for the business, but I don't know if it really works well for the culture within the organization. I mean, it's just a high pressure kind of a culture, and high pressure investors, founders, etc. But I don't know if it's good for other people.
And couple of last questions, and these are we can add them together. So one is IPO, and there was a mini debate on Twitter, right? And where you mentioned you can raise money today and get the higher valuation, but what about tomorrow? And second, you did the ESOP buyback, especially in September amidst the pandemic, and give liquidity to everyone. So especially, I just want to understand the mental state when you were doing that. You really said you were very satisfied, and I can relate to a very small level. But how did you think of giving ESOP buyback to everyone between this whole crisis, and why IPO? Why not IPO?
Right. No, see, the thing is, like right now, I mean, broking companies are hot everywhere. Okay, I mean, like I think Robinhood just raised money at some $15 billion of value, right? So, I mean, you could potentially go raise money now, but the problem is, if you raise money now, like personally, like if you like the way you asked me earlier, right? I'm not really very optimistic about the next few years, right? Because I think as a country, we have some issues. Firstly, in our target audience, right? As in, I don't really see how we can continue adding more users to invest, trade if people don't have jobs, or they're not earning enough money, or if that audience which potentially saves, who can who is filing income taxes in this country, if it's not going to grow, how will our audience grow, right? As in, so I'm not very optimistic about it. So now if I go sell the story and I get investors in, right? I mean, it's bad karma. It doesn't. It's. I know, of course, I can raise money. I can go buy some random thing with it, but it's just not the right thing for the investor. And an investor, I think, personally, I think, investor is like, it's like a marriage, right? As in, he's gonna be with you for a long term. It's not like a overnight thing. And if he comes in for the wrong reason, with the wrong expectation, I don't really see how that will turn out right in the long run, right? So I don't know if I'm being smart or not, because a lot of very smart books say that when market is hot, you should take money, because when you want money, no one gives you. You should take it when someone's giving you. So people say it. So I don't know if it's the right thing to do, but
I think you are at peace. You can go to Coorg, and I think that is what matters. So by buying that freedom, so getting freedom from, and like the Naval Ravikants of the world say, freedom to and freedom from. I'm not that intellectual trying to read these days, learning from all of you. But yeah, so I think exactly like you said. And one last quick question Arnav has asked, and it's on a lighter note. What is the significance of the Messi jersey in the background?
All right. Okay.
Whoever this guy has, amazing vision, but yeah, great.
Yeah. No. I mean, I love my sports, and I think Messi is as close to God as you can get. So so that's
that's a role model question answer you are giving us now.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So great. I think Nitin, I have a long document where I can go on, but I think the time does not allow. So thanks for coming for the conference. Thanks for being here, and thanks for answering a lot of things. I would request to if you can log in and hang around and talk to folks on the app, because a lot of folks would want to talk to you for another half an hour, 1 hour, if you have time, and that will be great to have you around. And thanks for joining us. Thank you for being our panelist today and our keynote. Thank you, Nitin.
Yeah, cheers. Pleasure. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks. Bye, Nitin. So, guys, I think this was Nitin, and we have two amazing bootstrapped entrepreneurs and role models joining us in the evening as well. So, Pallav will be moderating Mr. Sridhar Vembu, and that is going to be an amazing session, which I am personally looking forward to. So thanks for being a great audience and asking great questions. And I know the time was less. The document I've made was pretty long enough. So we'll try to answer some of them throughout the day. But yeah, thanks for being a great audience, and welcome to TPS.
We all had a great time on the session, and some interesting insights from Nitin. And I think it got stretched a lot, but I think it derived a lot of value. So now all those people who are now attending it live on different channels, who are attending it for free, and I would really request, if you want to upgrade your pass, there's an amazing lineup ready for you guys. We are already having a session called Defining, Finding, Measuring Product Market Fit and Beyond. After that, we would be hosting Anirban for how to build a growth model. So I hope if any one of you is interested in attending the future sessions, there's a link in the description below. Just go and click it, and hope to see all of you guys attending the conference. Thank you.